thousands of tears later.
It is far too hot for this. So, back in 2008, 6 years after its original 9-season run ended, The X-Files released its second movie, I Want to Believe. And my God, did we fans want to believe? So very much. Unfortunately, the results were mixed, to say the least, but this is not the video for reviewing that. If you want to know, I will do a video another day about that, but there are plenty of reviews out there that you can go check out. I also won't be recapping the story of the movie. I'll put a little summary up on the screen or whatever, but no, what we are here today on August 14th 2026, 18 years later, is director and co-writer Chris Carter, the creator of the show, who may be slowly losing his mind and is clearly very, very bored. Somebody please give him something to do that's not X-Files related. That would be great, please, for the sake of all our sanity. He decided to do an edit, some of us would say retcon, of the movie to purportedly make it scarier. Okay, you're thinking? I mean, I wouldn't say it's a scary movie. It is, the implications are gross of the case file. This idea of transporting heads onto different bodies is creepy, and especially if you see the video with the dogs that inspired it, that'll give you nightmares for ages. And I can confirm that because I watched those like videos from the 1940s. It is horrifying. But anyway, so the idea is, you know, so you're like, okay, what could be added to make this? Is there going to be like some, because everything was filmed like 18 years ago, so what are they going to add? I thought maybe there would be extra CGI, things to make it look more gory. No. Okay, so is there scenes added in? No. If anything, 8 whole minutes have been chopped off the movie. So then the question is, why? And I think Chris Carter's more recent interviews would say all that needs to be said, and it should have been expected. I don't know why I'm surprised. His excuse was that apparently the movie was essentially a Mulder and Scully relationship movie with a scary story in the background. Which, considering he co-wrote this with Frank Spotnitz, makes me wonder if he just removed everything that Spotnitz contributed. Oh, so obviously I have not made this a secret. I am a fan of the Mulder and Scully relationship, but not in the way that I think a lot of people, unfortunately, in the fandom, there are very toxic, very creepily toxic ends to the spectrum. There are people that are just nasty on both sides. I like what we got, basically. I don't want something like Out of Bones or, you know, one of these. It's difficult with how we see will they, won't they relationships on TV now, especially once they get together and all the smushing and all that stuff. We didn't get that. I like that, but there was an element where we like, if you knew, if you interpreted what was presented that they were together, great. If you didn't, that's fine. If that makes you happy, great. I respect that. So if I thought that the relationship was interfering with the case file, I would understand cutting some bits back. Except this is so badly edited to start with. I'm not even kidding. There are cuts here. Stuff is cut to remove literally every single thing that could implicate that Mulder and Scully are even remotely friendly in any capacity. They've cut out, so I could sit here and go through I won't go through every cut thing, but so literally you have, you know, the bed scene is still here, but everything at the beginning where flirty penis-sized jokes are made, or any reference to William and that he's their son, any, you know, and the cuddling and the kiss on the neck and stuff, gone. We literally go, there is one thing added in this whole movie, and it is not even, so there was a cut scene from the original version where Scully goes into her office after a very difficult argument with Father Yarborough at her hospital, and she breaks down. Emotionally, she's drained, and I don't know why it was cut. I assume it was cut for time or something, maybe, or it just was breaking up the pacing. But it's a scene where you see her go in. For some reason, her assistant or something was sat outside listening in. But this is, we get a snippet of the end of that scene added in to just randomly show Scully crying for no reason, which, again, we will get to. And then it just cuts to the bed scene where Scully wakes up and goes, there was tranquilizer in the body part that was found. It is so badly cut. It is so awkward, and it happens so much, especially through the first half of the movie. I felt nauseous at times. There was cut. They've cut the bit. Scully drives to their home, and it has this like tiny snippet of her going along the road. But then they cut out the whole section where she gets out of the car and opens the gate onto the property and stuff. And I kind of get why you would cut that for pacing. But at the same time, I feel like it gives an idea of, you know, how out of the way they are and stuff like that. I feel like it adds flavour. I don't mourn that loss. My biggest issue is you literally have this 1 second of her in the car and then boom, shot of the house and she's outside and then cut back inside. It's cut. I genuinely was like, this is awful. What the hell? So there's stuff like that. Any reference when they have their argument at the hospital, the line Scully gives about how they're two people who come home at night to a home now, that's gone. Her saying that she won't be coming home tonight if Mulder doesn't let it go, that is gone. Scully saying about you know, your passion and all that stuff, that's why I fell in love with you, later on in the movie, that's gone. And again, badly cut. It's so ugly. This movie wasn't the best to start with, but I don't know how it's possible to make it even uglier. And it's just, if I thought it's the problem, my biggest issue is this movie already struggled with lack of characterization. These characters, and especially if you are coming into this as somebody who not so familiar with the show, you know, just going in because it's a movie. Nothing. Literally, the only thing that was, keeping it going was Mulder and Scully and their partnership and how they work off each other and stuff like that. We relied on that for our character, the heart of the movie, if you will. Because nobody else, there is no backstory to the girl that gets abducted in the movie. We have nothing really about the FBI agent who is originally kidnapped at the start of the movie. Nothing for the FBI agents. Nothing much for Billy Connolly's Father Joe, other than he's a paedophile priest. But Mulder and Scully, who, again, I guess you're supposed to just know going in, there's nothing to them. And this whole movie is just, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. It is boring. If you didn't think this movie was boring before, it is now dull and badly edited. Exceptionally so. I mean, I didn't like Scully in the original. I didn't like, she got Mulder involved with this case and then got pissy at him that he was getting obsessed and wanting to find the answers and stuff. And I'm like, what did you expect? So I didn't like that in the original version, but here, because of how badly, because it doesn't show the ebbs and flows of their partnership, which is what makes them work, because that emotional roller coaster that they go through is gone, you're like, it just comes off that Scully is being bitchy and Mulder is being grumpy for no apparent reason. Because any of the conflict is gone, is sucked out of it. And you're like, okay, why are they being like this? There's little things that made me so confused about their missing. I will say though, no, we'll get to a couple of changes, which were the biggest eye-rolling things. But there's a scene early on where with Scully's boss kind of at the hospital, Father Ybarra, who argues with Scully about her keep pushing to treat her patient Christian, and you're just, and it's kind of like, you know, why she keeps fighting. It shows why she's so against he's like, just let the kid die, just, you know, let him be with God, blah 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 blah. And they have this argument in the hallway. It turns out he's been looking, and Christian's like, oh, the man keeps watching me and stuff like that. And then it cuts to this shot of Father Ybarra in the hallway, and Scully goes off and says, what's the issue and stuff like that in the original version. And they have this back and forth about how he thinks she should just let him go, and she's like, well, why are you giving up and stuff like that. I haven't seen the movie in a while, so the original version in a while, so you'll have to forgive me if but that scene is gone. So then for Scully to just randomly go in her office and have a cry, you're like, why? What is going on with Scully right now? And there's no explanation. None. There's odd things. Like, so when Callum Keith Rennie's main bad guy, who I don't remember the name of, and I don't even remember if it's ever said, they're chasing him. Mulder and Agent Whitney are chasing him through this building that's under construction and stuff. And Mulder's on one level, Whitney's on this other level, and he calls down and he's like, are you okay? You know, where is he? And she's like, oh, where? Or something like that. And I swear, I don't know if this is a Mandela effect. I haven't gone back to the original version. I swear in the original version, when she looks down and she sees the bad guy right in front of her, I could have sworn he said here before pushing her. That has been cut. He just pushes her. There's no voice line now. So I don't know if I've misremembered or whatever. But later on, I'm sure as well he says something in Russian before punching Mulder. That again is gone. And that again I feel his character development gone. There are all these weird little cuts, and you're like, why? And like I say, it definitely feels more in the first half. But yeah, and then, oh, there's a couple of changes that I'm just like, why? So the very, very beginning of the movie originally started with like the X-Files whistle, but in this very slow, kind of creepy way. And before you like cut to this scene of the moon in the night sky, and then you had Agent Monica Bannon driving along before she gets kidnapped. They cut the whistle, which was sad, and they have, oh, it is, my eyes rolled so hard, I'm not even kidding. Apparently, for whatever reason, they decided to dub over the music that the agent is listening to as she's driving is Patsy Cline's I Fall to Pieces. I may have actually peed myself laughing. I was like, are you actually kidding me? It is the most on the nose thing, because she gets chopped up into pieces. Get it? Symbolism. It was the dumbest thing. I swear, Chris Carter, it was bad enough in the revival. I swear he has been watching too much Grey's Anatomy recently. Can somebody stop him binge watching whatever he's binge watching? Because his use of licensed music recently, like in Babylon and stuff like that, honestly, but to add that in, I was like, are you actually kidding me? I fall to pieces. I fall to pieces. Can't. This edit is a joke. And then not made worse. Well, yes, before we get to the other thing, made worse by then. So this scene of her getting kidnapped and that is intercut by Father Joe, like doing his psychic thing, seeking out finding this body part, the arm of the agent. And they find the arm, and they put the X-Files whistle there on the reveal of the arm. It was so hammy. I kind of liked it. I think it's because originally it set up so much atmosphere coming into the movie that I feel it worked better there. But it was so hammy. Just this paper, the snow is pulled back, and the wrapping on the arm is pulled back, and then I was like, are you kidding me? So there's that, which I just felt was such a bizarre choice. Later on, and this one I'd heard of before watching. During Scully's operation on Christian, there's this beautiful piece called The Surgery by composer Mark Snow that scores it. And the scene, it goes on quite a long time. I'm surprised that wasn't cut down for pacing. But in the past, it was fine because of this beautiful piece. I never took too much issue with it because it was just so haunting and beautiful. And now that's gone. Replaced by a Clannad song. And I don't have an issue with the band, but the song drones on. And the scene goes on. And it's just boring. And I'm like, I want that beautiful music back. Especially now Mark Snow has passed away. It's insane to think that his, what he created has just been, and possibly one of the most beautiful pieces he ever created, has just been scrubbed away and replaced with this song. And I don't even know why this particular song, other than it's this haunting beautiful voices, don't get me wrong, but it just drones. And the scene goes on. And I'm like, this is the scene you wanted to keep in at length. Whereas other things have been chopped down clumsily. Okay. It's exhausting. I'm not even kidding. This whole movie is just, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, and you're like, okay. And you have no connection. No connection to it at all. And I stand by, the case file was creepy. Were there problems with the original movie? Yes. So many. And there's little things like, when Mulder shaves, yeah, there was no getting rid of the gum glue of his fake beard. You think they could have gone in and fixed that. There's an awful bit where they tap a crime scene, and in the original version where Whitney like sees a bit of shaving foam or whatever on his face, and she wipes it in. Scully does this jealous look. That is gone. Blessedly. That is probably the one thing I'm like, yeah, get rid of that. Again, it still looks awful when it cuts, but so Scully and Mulder are arguing about him continuing to follow Father Joe out in the middle of this field. And in the original movie, again, I did not like it. Scully does this whole thing, I've done this too long with you, you can't keep trying to save your sister, and Mulder's like, my sister's dead. And I always thought it was clumsy. I did feel it was clumsy. And again, I didn't like what it made Scully, who got Mulder into this case to begin with. It felt, again, she was being kind of bitchy to him for what she got him into. But that's gone. That argument as well is gone. So again, any character like highlights, I get that people that don't know the show wouldn't know who Samantha is. But it's characterization that's just gone. And it's things like that I'm just like, why? Why? What? I don't know. Coming into this movie, as somebody who doesn't know the show, what you would possibly get out of this. As a fan of the show, if you're not interested in a relationship, fine. But Mulder and Scully are still characters. They still have hopes and dreams and drives and whatnot. And that's never explored. But Scully here is just, heavens forbid that she should have anything remotely nice. She's just miserable in this movie. She was already miserable, but at least there was some lightness in what happened at their home. That's gone. And even just this was a slog. It is awful. And the fact, what cracks me up even more is then, especially regarding the stuff with the relationship, is Chris Carter's argument. Chris Carter, who, I remind you, when the revival came, was like going on about how Mulder and Scully had a platonic relationship for 9 years. And then you watch this and you're like, he actually believes that. He actually believes that. I mean, yeah, hashtag platonic activity was hilarious at the time and stuff, but it is sad to realise that actually he just thinks that. And I don't know if it's some Catholic thing where they're not married, so heavens forbid they should be having sex or whatever. If only he is allowed to be interested in Scully. It is so weird. At which point I would just say, let them get married. Fine. I remember when the season 10 came out and David Duchovny was clearly confused because of a line Chris Carter had written about how, for better or worse. And then David was under the impression they were had been married at some point, and Chris went, they were never married. So angry about it. It was hilarious. So anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent. as this whole video is, I can't get over this. The pointlessness of this freaking edit. His argument for why he definitely wanted the relationship stuff gone is because he felt the shippers, the ones who support the relationship, he felt we got what we wanted from the revival. Now, I don't know if he was watching the same revival that I watched. There was no kissing in the revival. There was the heavy implication that ATTHS twice, that sex was had twice, because of course then she got pregnant, but we'll get to that story at the end of this video. So he didn't see why we also needed any of the romantic stuff in I Want to Believe. And again, I don't care if it's romantic, platonic, whatever. Some kind of friendship, banter, characterization is all I want. And that is just gone. And they were the only ones with character in the whole movie to begin with. I've gone mad. I feel like I'm going mad. I don't know if it's the heat at the moment or what. I am embarrassed by this. I am embarrassed by Chris Carter's ramblings trying to explain this. And just watching it, I would have said it felt punchier at times. And it did occur to me at one point that it felt a little punchier. But as I was watching, and I got like halfway through before Mulder's car crash, and I was like, I am so bored. It just felt like like one thing happens and another thing happens, and I know I've said that multiple times, but that's all this was. It was awful. Yeah, this is pointless. Thank God it's only in the extras on Disney Plus that you can still watch the original version. But this it's so confusing that this exists. Like, 18 years after the movie that barely made back its money to begin with, 18 years later, when Ryan Coogler is working on a reboot, he's filmed the pilot and all that stuff. So there's a completely different X-Files happening at the moment. Apparently there's a completely new comic book series coming with character designs that are avoiding making it look like David and Gillian, which is awful all on its own. It is a weird time to be an X-Files fan. I mean, at least we finally got Lego X-Files, which I will have a video on when I have that. But to make it weirder, separate from whatever the garbage this is on Disney Plus, it's such a waste of time. It is an hour and 38 of why would you do this? Again, if you're happy to see the relationship gone, I'm happy for you. Enjoy your completely emotionless, well, not emotionless, because apparently all Scully has is crying for no apparent reason. Enjoy your completely, personality devoid characters. Other than that, there is also the news this past week. I gotta mention it here, because I swear, please, again, I implore you, for the sanity of X-Files fans everywhere, give Chris Carter something to do that's not X-Files related. I'm begging you. Please. Because he's clearly bored senseless right now. And for whatever reason, Frank Spotnitz is not there to control the crazy. Chris Carter has said that he would like to have another try with a revival of the X-Files with Mulder and Scully. Because apparently, I can't say these words with a straight face. Apparently, when Scully got pregnant, apparently there was a bigger plan. That he wants a shot at. And I get that that's only funny for the people that actually watched the revival. I am losing my mind. I'm sorry. I want that hour and 40 minutes back of my life. I have no life, but I want that hour and 40 back. I'm sorry. I genuinely feel like my brain has been turned to mush after sitting through that. It's so boring. So yeah, so Chris Carter apparently has a bigger plan. And there was a reason to make Scully pregnant. And there's a bigger plan. Which is a lie. Is a big fat lie. Because it's Chris Carter. And as I have said multiple times through my Tyranny X-Files videos, which I promise are coming. I know I've been saying that for literally like 4 years now. I swear they're going to be coming back. He does not believe in show Bibles. And if you watch the 16 episodes we got for the revival, there was no plan there. There was absolutely no plan. So the fact that he's still holding on to hope, again, while we're waiting to see what happens with Ryan Coogler's reboot, Chris Carter's like, no, but I want another chance. I had plans. I had plans, guys. He had plans. Chris Carter was robbed of his chance to tell this amazing story that he had an extra, not only a second movie, but 16 extra episodes to tell. And he just didn't get his chance. Why won't you give him a chance, guys? Why won't I give him a chance? Well, I can't imagine why. Again, I just sat through I Want to Believe Vrach Frankenshteyn. I need to stop now. I will talk for literal hours. I am so frustrated. Yes. Do not watch this. Do not watch the retconning garbage. It's pointless. And it's boring. And it is really badly edited. And the use of licensed music is done. I fall to pieces. I fall to pieces. I fall to pieces watching this. Just don't. I'm sorry I've wasted your time. I'm sorry I've rambled on. Just, I honestly go check out other people, their reviews. It'll be a lot more comprehensive. Mine are just literally a gut reaction to having watched this. Yeah. I don't even know why I expected anything different. It cracks me up. I genuinely thought, I don't know why I thought it, I actually thought some CGI like gore and something darker, you know, stuff would be added in or whatever. No. It's just the same story with the characters sucked out. Cool. I mean, the scariest thing that has been, you know, about it is the editing, to be honest. Yay. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you for watching my slow descent into madness. I may do this as a premiere, so if you're in the live chat watching this, hi, thanks so much for your support. Please take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you somewhere down the line. Bye.
Sketch made this.
I just wanted to quickly add on here, several hours after the insanity died down, that the biggest problem with doing what Carter has done to this movie is that its story is so intrinsically tied to different kinds of love, be that the bad guy's love of his husband and drive to try and save him, or Father Joe's love of God and devotion, and maybe even the twisted love he had for little boys, a parent's love, you know, to fight for Christian's life from both his parents and Scully. Those things alone, before you even get to Mulder and Scully's relationship. So that is all tied in already. So then Carter goes out on this very weird culling of so many lines in Mulder and Scully's dialogue. And I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, thank God, the relationship ruined the show, you know, oh, get rid of it. But so many of these lines that have been cut are not all flirty and alluding to a relationship or stuff. Everybody seems to keep making out, like, again, this is what cracks me up with Carter's comments regarding the revival. It's like, dude, you separated them. You know, you took away their son both physically and symbolically. You absolutely wrecked. There's no kissing. There's no declarations of any affection of any type or that. Yes, Scully utters the words "I need you" multiple times while having a seizure. You know, while Mulder completely brushes her aside and carries on his own. Yeah, that's so romantic. So glad I got that. Yeah, that's what I was after. People seem to think that what we got regarding relationship was so detrimental, and it is frustrating. I stand by the fact that have always respected people's concerns that the monsters of the week and all those stories would be ruined by a relationship. But I always felt it was supplemental. Now, I say all that because people seem to think that all of Mulder and Scully's lines in I Want to Believe were all these... but there are lines that friends would say to each other. You know, people that have been partners since 1992. So, you know, over 20 years. Not 20 years, sorry. At the time, you know, 15 years or whatever. There are lines, the biggest one for me, and I actually had to take a break after I realised this has been cut. I had to walk out of the room for a minute to catch a breath. I was like, I cannot believe this. There is a scene where they go to visit Father Joe. The first scene when they go to visit Father Joe. And then Mulder comes out onto the balcony where Scully is. And she's like, she starts to leave. And she says, oh, well, he doesn't want me there. And Mulder chases after her, insisting, I want you there. You know, I need you to be a part of this case to help me. And they have a little bit of back and forth. And she's like, this isn't my life anymore. But the whole bit after her walking down and saying, he doesn't want me anymore, is gone. It's cut. And it's like, that is them showing their respect for each other. You know, platonically, whatever. It's frustrating because there are so many of those kind of lines, and again, that show the lightness and the darkness that is in their relationship that causes this friction, which makes them stronger agents while also breaking them down. And again, making Scully emotional, making Mulder hit out like a petulant child. But you take all of that away, and what's even the point? So I just wanted to add that it's not just romantic stuff that's been removed. They have removed core elements of their characters from even season 1. And I'm sorry, that's bad writing. And to try and do what he's done, to take a story that is based around those kind of themes, not only with Mulder and Scully, but with other characters, and sap so much of that heart out. what already felt pointless, you know, and a waste of time, is just scenes for the sake of being scenes. I just wanted to put that a bit more succinctly than I had earlier on, straight after watching. So, but thanks again. If you're in the chat, thanks so much. I will catch you later.